Yo, what's the dealio, man? Listen, you already know I got a straight banger for you today. All right. So we got the small account challenge. All right. I just switched it over to Robinhood. It was a week of trials and tribulations in the small account. This week in the stock market was absolutely insane and it was a phenomenal week. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to recap the small account challenge and what we were able to do this week. We had some wins. I had one. Uh, I got in one trade that I did not wait for confirmation, and it kind of messed me over. So that for the rest of the week, I was kind of fighting back for the small account challenge, right? So as you can see right here, yesterday took a trade, um, grew the account by 7%, but that includes I was down in a trade before, so we're gonna go over that as well. But so that's where we at on the account. We're positive on the account, right? So moving forward, we just gonna be on the up and up. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is, all right. So I'm sharing the screen right now, and so we're gonna go through the history of the trades, and then I'm gonna talk about the trades, and then what I'm gonna do is, whatever I feel like was my favorite trade, I will I'll break that trade down. Okay. So right here, this is where we sitting at $527.45. Next week it is going to be higher. All right. Now if we go to the history, so these are the trades that I took this week. Some day trades, some scalps, swings. So we're gonna start with. So this was last week. I made $10 on the SPY call, but then a SPY put, right? So I made a dumb decision. I got in a trade before I had confirmation. Now SPY made the move the day after this trade right here, so I did lose 26 bucks. It was I got one, and the credit was, how much did I buy it for? I bought it for $66. Okay, and then I took a $26 loss because I got in one day too early. Okay, if I would have got in a day later, this would have printed. Now the thing is, this is a lesson that you want to learn. Make sure you wait for confirmation, or you may want to wait for you may want to get your expiration a little bit longer. All right. So I did lose $27 there, and then I got into an applied put, and I made 13 bucks. That was like 12% because I got one contract, but man, what happened on this one, I just got out too early, right? So, but I made money on that one and then got into IWM, right? I bought into IWM here, and then on this one I lost $17. So it was this one and then SPY, okay? That's where I took a L on. And then on SoFi, bought in a contract at 166 and sold at one. I made $5. That was like 5% or 10%, because the contract was so cheap. What was it? Oh no, 166. So that was, yeah, like 4 or 5%. And then got into a IWM put. Okay, and then made some money on the IWM put. And then what happened? And then I got into an XYZ call, okay? And then I made 19 bucks. That was like, what was it? That was like 10%. But here's what's crazy. When I was getting out, it showed that I was up 32%, right? Which was like $50. I got filled. I got filled immediately, but it was at a lower price. So with Webull, you're able to get filled at mid, but on Robinhood, you have to put the price in. And so, or you could sell at market. So this number right here, it should have been probably about an extra 40 bucks more, but it's all good. Now I know because I haven't traded with Robinhood, so I'm gonna start entering in the actual price. Okay. So that's what happened. I took two L's on the indexes, on the regular stocks. I was cool with, and then on XYZ, right? So that gives us a grand total right here of right here. Okay. So next week we're going to be able to add on to this, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the charts, and we're gonna talk about this XYZ swing trade. The XYZ was a swing trade, and then the applied digital was a swing trade. I swung trade XYZ to the upside, and I swung trade APLD to the downside. Right? So we're gonna go to the charts, and I'm gonna show you guys. We're gonna talk about XYZ. Right? So we got this right here. All right. All right, cool. So I decided to swing XYZ, right? All right. So this is where they're at. On the daily time frame, this is where they're at, right? So here's what happened for XYZ. We had a 2-2 reversal, right? This is a bullish 2-2 reversal. What a 2-2 reversal is, if we're looking at the strat method, we have a red candle right here, right? A 2 down, and then the very next candle is a 2 up, right? That is a bullish reversal, a 2-2 bullish reversal. So when I saw this, right, plus this bull flag right here, I was like, I'm going to swing this, right? And on the 4-hour time frame, right, we closed right here the previous day, right? I actually took an entry, and when I got filled, I took an entry around like $79, right? I got filled at like $79, 79.01, and then it came down to like 78.50, right, before the market closed. And so I was down in the trade like 10%, 12%, something like that. And then the next day we had CPI, it came out, it was good news, and then we gapped up, right? So as you can see on the daily, I took my entry right here. We ended up gapping up here, and then we came all the way up to 80.35, right? And I actually took my profits early on in the day. I took them about at like $80. No. I took my profit. We got in here. Yeah, it gapped up. And so I took my profit around like $80, right? So, and it showed I was up like 30 something percent. So I took my profit here. Okay. Like right here. Okay. I took my exit right there. All right. And this was the entry, right? So it just gapped up. It didn't go too crazy. So I didn't leave like a crazy amount of money on the table, but it is what it is, right? So that was that. I did it off a 2-2, right? A bullish 2-2 reversal. So that's what happened. That's what I was looking at, and that's how we made that one happen. All right. When it comes down, this setup right here, I feel like it was solid. Also because we had a bull flag right here, and it's still kind of holding it. The resistance for the bull flag is a little bit kind of higher, so you could call it like, if you look at the bull flag, you could say like here, right? It's kind of widened a little bit, but it's consolidating in this area, right? So I think that if we do get above 82, then we could definitely make some noise and we could go higher. But we were at the closer to the bottom of this little area right here, so it made sense for me. I said, boom, we're gonna go. And we were actually above, we were closed above this fair value gap in the middle of it. So that also gave me confidence to enter into that trade right there. All right. So that one was a win. Like I said, I did win on a few other trades, but that's one that I really liked and I felt good about that one right there. I just wasn't able to get filled at my higher price, but it's all good because we're going to get it this week. All right. So this week, what I'm going to focus on is like intraday trading, because usually what happens is wake up, look at all my levels, and then I will take a trade that is like in my main accounts, right? Take a couple of trades in there, and then throughout the day, I will try to look for a setup on the small account, right? So this week, I'm gonna be focusing on. I'm gonna try to get one trade a day in on a small account so that we could grow it faster, and maybe a swing throughout the week. But that's what we're gonna focus on. All right. I'm gonna focus on IWM. I'm not gonna focus on SPY. I know IWM way more than SPY, and I like IWM more than SPY as well. So I'm gonna focus on IWM with the small account, and then a couple stocks that have momentum. I'm gonna do some more research this weekend, find some stocks that have some momentum in a direction, and then we're gonna eat off of that. Okay, but I am gonna be focusing on IWM, focusing on IWM day trades in the small account. We have the live. I'll be going live tomorrow, and we're gonna talk about the week, what my setups are, as well. Okay, so I would like to say this was a great week in the market, through and through. Right, I had 2 losses, but we was able to climb back, come back from those losses, and then we ended the week in a small profit. But next week we gonna really take this thing to the next level. All right. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. All right. And also, like I always say, make sure you get up out your head and go get into this world, because your head is a dangerous place to live. All right. And also remember, y'all, the more you study, the less you worry. All right. I appreciate y'all tapping in, tuning in. I'm going to see you guys on tomorrow's live. Y'all stay smooth, man. Peace.